spent that whole weekend completing one another's sentences. We found, to my amazement, I don't know how amazed he was, that we had come to all the same conclusions. And we've worked together ever since to fine-tune what we knew. All that evidence fits together just like a puzzle. It didn't have to fit together. There could have been extra pieces, nonsensical parts, trailing ends, but there's none of that. It all fits together perfectly, and it makes perfect sense. The greater reality to which we return at death is one gigantic whole. It's as big and complex and amazing as the reality that you think you see around you now. In fact, it's a whole lot bigger than the entire universe. We think it's proportionally 15 or 20 times the size of this universe. In fact, space and time simply are not characteristics that have relevance in relation to the reality to which we return at death. That reality is entirely mind created, and it's much more easily mind manipulated than this one. This much smaller reality, believe it or not, is created around a reality based in particle-derived atoms that cannot be so easily played with. We come here to learn our lessons, and it would be much harder to learn those lessons if we could just, move the matter around here. So it has to be something that we can't play with our minds, and that's why we have atoms. It's really a pretty neat trick when you think about it. This has been carefully designed to be something that we have to take seriously. Okay, so how could that be the case? It's pretty easy, actually. Everything you see around you now is a complete illusion. Einstein said it was, and it is. It's all energy. The matter that scientists study is not as solid as they claim it is because it's all made up of atoms. And now, this is a great example. Think of the White House. I mean, just pretend there are no people in it. I don't care what your particular party is. Think of the White House, where it is, the size that it is. That's the nucleus of the atom. If that were the case, the closest orbiting electron could be as far away as Denver. Think of how far that is. And there would be nothing in between. And it's even worse than that because they wouldn't be solid particles. They would be whirling vortices of energy. There'd be nothing solid. You have the White House, that's neutrons and protons, whirling vortices of energy, and then you'd have the electron in Denver, and it's all just whirling vortices of energy. That's it. The only reason you can't put your hand right through your desk is that the vortices in one conflict with the vortices in the other. You think it's all solid matter. That's all matter is. It's just vortices of energy. I know this sounds amazing to you, but that's all it is. Matter isn't solid at all. As Einstein said, it is all an illusion. He said it's a heck of an illusion, but that's all it is. And the more you come to understand that, the easier it is for you to come to understand this is not what's real. And we try to help you understand that on seekreality.com. That website is designed to help you come to understand the illusion so that you break through that and come to understand the only thing that is real is consciousness. And you are part of that consciousness. You are part of what is real. And when you come to understand that, you come to understand that it is impossible for you to die. You are part of what's real. You are part of what's eternal. When you go to seekreality.com, we want the most important thing for us to give you is the certainty that you're eternal. So the first thing you see there is a 15-unit course. It's free. You can take it as a podcast, take it with you in your car, just listen to it. The podcast is an hour and a half. It tells you everything you need to know. And once you internalize it, you know you're eternal. It's quite simple. If you're afraid of death, you won't be afraid of death anymore once you internalize this information. If you don't believe it, you just become a member. There is enough information once you become a member, and by the way, what's important for you to understand is it takes a while to be convinced. People have come to me and been terrified of death. And so I've experimented. They didn't think they were being experimented on, but I was trying to help these people understand that life really is eternal. So what I tried to do is to give them information. I had my own, The Fun of Dying. I had Craig Hogan's original book, which I think is brilliant, Your Eternal Self. And I helped them through those books and answered their questions and gave them more information because the books have, of course, bibliographies. And as I helped them and answered their questions, I came to understand what they most needed to know about reality. And it was really pretty predictable. And it took them, each of them, just about 2 years of this kind of tutelage. It'll take you, if you are terrified of death, I just about guarantee you, it's going to take you 2 years to get past that terror. But once you get it, oh my goodness, you really do get it. It becomes something which you don't ever, ever backslide on. It's like suddenly everything falls into place. It's the most amazing thing. You totally get it. Suddenly you say, why didn't I ever see this before? You are eternal by your very nature. That's who you really are. And so one of the things, and sometimes it's almost laughable when some people suddenly get it. So that's the way we tried to build seekreality.com. It's in modules so that you get the most basic things first, and then you go right through and get to the end of it. Yes, you can cut corners. Yes, you can make it shorter. Yes, you don't have to do every single thing if you already think you understand it. But the most important thing is that you give yourself the opportunity to really get each part of it. I mean, some people who have some of the people that I tutored, one man I remember vividly. I think he was older. He was about 30, 35. And I suddenly didn't hear from him for a year. And I thought, oh my goodness, what happened to him? I hope he's still alive. And then suddenly one day I got an email from him and he said, well, they had just had a baby. He had a promotion. And you were right. It took about 2 years. That was it. Thank you. That was it. People get it. Once people really get it, they don't even think about it anymore. They go on with their lives. And that's what we're trying to do with Seek Reality Online. One of the things we've learned is that there are about 80% of the population still has no idea what's going on. They're afraid to die, but denial is not just a river in Egypt. They try not to think about it until something happens, until they get sick, until someone they love dies. Suddenly they're desperate for information. But wherever you are on your course in life, if you find that suddenly it's important for you to know, Seek Reality Online is there for you. And we're there for you and we'll answer your questions. And it's just important. It's very important for as many people as possible to know the truth, because there's an underlying fact that perhaps you haven't thought about. All the things that are going wrong in the world right now stem from one central cause, and that's the fact that so many people now are afraid. And the base fear is the fear of death. If nobody was afraid of death right now, there would be no fear in the world. And if there was no fear in the world, we would have no mass shootings. We would have no wars. We would have no hatred. We would have no anger. I'm telling you the truth. That is the reason we have so many problems in the world that don't even seem to be related to the fear of death. So if you want to do something about all the fear in the world, all the anger and hatred, all the negative energy in the world, the most basic, easiest, simplest thing you can do right now is yourself. Get rid of the fear of death in you and in everyone you love. And we all can together do something positive for the world. And that's what we are trying to do with seekreality.com. And once you no longer fear death, you will no longer fear anything. That's another great thing that we have found. The other thing I want to make sure you understand is, if you want to learn that there is no such thing as death, you have to stop trusting your eyes, because as you look around you, I remember when I was a child, I used to believe, I really did, that my great-grandparents were up on the clouds swinging their feet, because otherwise, where are they? I mean, they can't be alive. You can't see them. And your eyes are such tricksters. They really make you believe that this is real. It isn't real. None of it is. Just remember that everything, all of these atoms are 99.999% empty space. And the part that isn't empty space, those are vortices of energy. There are no particles. If you had a camera that you could put inside a molecule to try to photograph all those little subatomic particles, they're vortices of energy. There's really no particles at all. Everything is a great illusion. And Einstein said that. He seemed to know a lot of things. I believe that he knew that too. So Craig Hogan and I are undertaking this wonderful, I think wonderful effort to try to fix the world. And we're already old, so it probably is not going to be finished by the time we decide to go to our great reward, but we're going to do the best we can with it. And if you have questions about it, you know how to reach me, of course. Just go to the green contact block on robertagrimes.com. I'm happy to answer your questions. And we welcome you to our effort in any way that you'd like to take part in it. We're having a lot of fun with it already. I am answering all the questions so far on seekreality.com because I want to know what people think. I'm so far, it just did the kinds of questions I get are sometimes funny and sometimes very, very sensitive, actually. I'm enjoying talking to the people who come to the website. And we've really only begun. It's exciting to launch something like this when we really, at this time in our lives, to be launching something new. And it's wonderful. Frankly, I'm having the most fun seeing Craig Hogan so excited, because he tends to be very mild. And I've not ever seen him so excited in my life. It's kind of exciting. So anyway, if you just in summary, if you want to be happier than you ever imagined in your life you ever could possibly be, learn something new and something big at this time in your life. It's just the most fun you can possibly imagine. So again, we're approaching the end of our time together, and I want to talk to you about what we're going to be doing next week. Our guest next week is hysterical. He is somebody that we've had on a few times before. I guess this is going to be his 7th time. Riley Haggerty is going to be with us. He's kind of a character. For the past 30 years, he's devoted himself to the indispensable work of researching and documenting the great physical mediums of historic spiritualism. And he's published a number of really good books, including The French Revelation, about the independent voice medium Emily French, and Portraits from Beyond about the Bang sisters, The Direct Voice about the medium Elizabeth Blake, and Spectral Evidence Volumes 1 and 2, which are compilations of mind-blowing mediumistic evidence about the heyday of spiritualism. Riley has also sat with some of the current internationally known physical mediums. There are some, by the way, although they usually don't sit with the public. His wife, Caroline, also is a practicing clairvoyant medium in her own right. Now, Spectral Evidence Volume 3 is out, and Riley is going to be here next week in fine form to talk about that. You won't want to miss it. This week, our guest has been your host. Now that seekreality.com is up and running, and we had some kinks in the beginning, like people couldn't log out, for example, and the developers, by the way, I think it's a beautiful website. They did a wonderful job with it, but basic things like, what was the thing about an ant trap? The ants will check in, but they can't check out. Well, people would log in, but they couldn't log out. And I couldn't convince the developers that was true. They kept saying, oh, yes, we can log out. No problem. People couldn't log out, but now they can. So that was kind of a basic thing that had to be worked out. And so I think all of the kinks finally are worked out. And I just wanted to basically welcome you to use the website. I think that the best part of the website, frankly, is some of the people who have been our guests are really extraordinary.